Okay, we covered all weft knits. Now let's continue with warp knitting. Warp knitting started with the invention of the tricot machine in England. As I mentioned, warp knitting cannot be done by hand. It can only be done on the warp knitting machines. And we use warp knit fabrics usually in apparel, but especially in interiors, in lingerie, in sheer curtains, some foundation garments, any nets and laces, bridal veils, those type of fabrics are always done on a warp knitting machine. And warp knits fabrics are more compact, they don't unravel, they are a lot sturdier, so they are different from the weft knit fabrics. Here's a tricot machine. You can see the warp beams here. The warp beams are providing all the warp yarns, and there are needles along the way, and each needle is connected to one yarn, and they are just knitting in that vertical direction. So these machines are super productive because they can make a lot more fabric in a very short time. Here's a Rochelle machine. Again, you can see the warp beams here, and the fabric is done in a vertical manner. So there are 4 types of warp knits: tricot, Rochelle, Milanese, and simplex. The most common ones are tricot and Rochelle. So we'll talk about tricot. Tricot fabrics usually have a more weft knit type of look, especially tricot jersey has those V-shaped stitches on the face of the fabric, but it is done on a warp knit machine and it doesn't have the same kind of structure. It just looks like it. There's satin tricot, which has a more smoother surface, and then there's brushed tricot, where we nap one side of the fabric to create a fuzzy surface. So this is a tricot face of the fabric. This is the back of the fabric. So you can see those V-shaped stitches on the tricot fabrics usually. This is a satin tricot, a little more lustrous. This is a brushed tricot. You see the fuzzy surface. And this is the technical face of the fabric, where you can see the V-shaped stitches. The back of the fabric has the brushed surface. But this is the technical back that is used as the design face of the fabric. This is a tricot knit. If you look at the magnified view, you can see the stitches, the loops here. This is a brushed tricot. This is the face of the fabric. This is the magnified view of the face with the brushed fuzzy area. And this is the back of the fabric, where you can see the stitches, the loops a little bit. This is a warp pile knit fabric made with a tricot machine. In a pile fabric, remember, we are using extra set of yarns usually. So this is the fuzzy brushed surface with the piles, and this is the back. This is a netting fabric made with a tricot design. So this is a tulle. Rochelle machines are more versatile. Any netting, any kind of lace is usually made on a Rochelle machine. This is how the knitting looks like. So if you follow the yellow lines, you can see the yellow loops going this way and then going this way. So it's moving in that vertical direction. This is the back. This is a lace fabric. This is a magnified view of the lace. So you can see how the knitting is different from the weft knits here. This is, again, the face of a net made with a Rochelle machine, and this is the well, these are actually the same picture, I believe. Here you also have raised patterns in this lace fabric made with the Rochelle machine. If you look closely, you can see the loops here. This is the Rochelle knit fabric. You're using dyed yarns to make this fabric. This is a yarn dyed Rochelle fabric again. Shower curtain made with Rochelle knit. The Rochelle machine can create a lot of different fabrics. Power net is the kind of fabric you use for foundation garments, swimwear, anything that requires a lot of stretch. We use the Rochelle knit design for that. And we can also make piles. We can make raised lace patterns. This one has the raised surfaces on this lace. This one has a puckered look. So if you look closely, this one is the same fabric but stretched, so you can see the loops here going in this vertical direction. But if you release the fabric, then it puckers and creates a certain look. This is a swimsuit made with Rochelle warp knit machine, and this is a magnified view. You can see the loops. This is an undergarment made with spandex that has a lot of stretch. This is also made with the Rochelle machine. This laundry bag is made with Rochelle warp knit machine. So you see the fabric here. This is the magnified view. This is men's swimming trunks, and the inside net area is a Rochelle knit, or sorry, this is actually a tricot knit, and you can see magnified view here of the loops. Let's go to your eye textiles now and see if there's anything we have not covered. We talked about those 4 kinds, tricot, Rochelle. Tricot and Rochelle are the most popular. There's also Milanese and Simplex. This is a tricot machine. You see these needles. This is a tricot knit fabric. You see the loops going in that direction. These fabrics do not unravel easily. They don't split. They are very, very compact fabrics. They are not as loose and open like weft knits either, unless they are created as a lace or a sheer structure, of course. This is a tricot again. You can follow the yarn. This is a jersey tricot or tricot jersey. It looks like a jersey on the face of the fabric, but if you look closely, the loops are nothing like a jersey knit. This is a satin tricot. This is the technical face of the fabric, and you can see the loops here. This is the back, but they are using the back of the fabric as the face or as a design face. That's a brush tricot. Again, this is the technical face of the fabric where you can see the loops. The back of the fabric is used as a design face, and it's napped to create that fuzzy surface. This is a net made with a tricot machine. We talked about Rochelle. Rochelle knits look like this. So if you follow the yellow yarn here, it goes in that vertical direction. They use textured yarns here to create a design. This is an onion sack. When you buy onions, they come in those sacks, and these are made with a Rochelle knit. These also use tape yarns. So you can see the loops here if you look closely. This is a lace created with a Rochelle machine. This is another lace that has some raised areas. This is a power net. Power net fabrics are used for foundation garments usually, or sometimes swimwear. They usually have spandex, so these fabrics stretch a lot, like tummy shapers and those foundation garments that kind of make you look a little bit thinner. Those kind of fabrics usually require this kind of knitting. This is a power net fabric. So this fabric is made using spandex yarns that are covered with a multi-filament polyester. So what you see here is the polyester, but the polyester yarns, the multi-filament polyester yarns are wrapped around spandex. And that gives you a lot of stretch. This laundry bag is a Rochelle mesh. I showed you that already. This is a warp knit mesh fabric again. This is the magnified view. So you can see how the loops look. The trunks, this is the magnified view. You can see how those men's swim trunks, the inside netting fabric looks like when you look closely to the knitting structure. This storage has the netting outside that is made with a Rochelle knit design. And this is a pile warp knit made by using extra set of yarns. So you can make these on a Rochelle machine or a tricot machine, and it can create that faux fur look on fabrics. These type of fabrics are also used for car interiors, commercial grade carpets, and things like that. Okay, so this concludes knitting. So now we are done with weaving, we are done with knitting. After this, we're going to have an exam, and then we will talk about some of the other type of fabric construction methods that we never mentioned before.